Everybody. I'm going to review one of my favorite real estate investment books of all time. I'm a real estate educator. Besides being a broker for nearly 4 decades, a certified general appraiser for nearly 4 decades, a real estate investor for nearly 4 decades, and also during the mortgage crisis, one of the top REO asset managers. Constantly looking at properties every day I am, and I came across this book. I have just about every real estate investment book that's ever been published, dating all the way back to the 1950s. And this is one of the best ones I've ever come across. It's practical, it's step by step, it tells you, it organizes you and puts you in the right direction. You don't need an expensive course. I'm an educator. I have courses all the time. You'll see courses on my website, but I'm not even going to direct you there. I'm not going to disclose everything in this book anyways. I'm suggesting you buy it. I'm suggesting you not only buy a excuse me, a Kindle edition, but also the print edition, because I bought several print editions because I go through and I note on every page. So I'm going to go through there's 32 chapters, I think. Let me double check here. And I'm going to go through, and every chapter that's at 34 chapters, and maybe a couple of them I'll in the back I don't think we need to cover, but I'm going to go through how I, over the last 40 years, have put the same things Tom states in this book into practice, and we've come to similar outcomes. So it's a great book. It's a great book for any real estate, somebody starting out. And let's go over chapter one by one. I'm only going to do like one chapter a day, and we'll go over it. And I'm not going to read it out. I'm going to tell you certain segments that you probably should note, and how I have done the same thing, and what the outcome was, or my story with it. So you'll get two experts here. Tom's an expert, and I'm an expert. So you'll get that, but I can't strongly enough. You got to buy this book, and I would buy I'm old school. I love to write and put things in the little write all over the pages, and so I would do that if I were you. So chapter one, he starts out the letter, and basically somebody writes him, and they're got behind on bills and stuff. They're asking how they can become a real successful real estate investor, and that could be you. You want to start out and you want to become a real estate investor, and Tom writes a response, and I want to go through some of the responses here, and Tom starts out how he, came from nothing, and him and I both bought properties when we were like 18 and 19. It doesn't matter what age you are, but you need to start. You need to start. And how Tom starts out is he goes through and he finds an area that he wants to invest in. And here's the key. I did the same thing. That's typically called a farm by I was raised on a farm, but you target an area and you just go, all the properties in that area. You educate yourself about that area. You cultivate like a farmer cultivates, his crops. If you just do the big approach where you try to do everything everywhere, it doesn't work. But the weeds overtake it, and you don't get a harvest. But here you focus on a specific area, and you learn that area, and you get to know every property that could be a possibility. You get to know the realtors. And Tom goes on to page 14, he states, for 3 months he went through this area, and every realtor that was in that area he made contact with, and he was cultivating that area. And it wasn't overnight. It wasn't the next day after he did this. He didn't come across his first deal, I think, until 3 months. And that's typical. You got to put some time in it. It doesn't happen overnight. But once you know that area, you're the go-to guy. You got to get into that. You know the values, and you know the properties, and after the first one, then you get your second, third, and fourth, and fifth, and sixth. I've owned I've owned I think 5, 6 houses on the same street sometimes, but You cultivate that area, get to know the realtors, and you get that first call he mentioned here. He also mentions how the house that he went into, um, you know, was old, and I guess there's an older gentleman in it. So that is often one of the main turnovers of the properties you're looking for is estate sales, where they have not been, when you get older, you're less concerned about kitchens, bathrooms, and everything. So that sort of stuff gets improvements, excuse me, allergies, gets delayed for possibly decades. So, you find these houses that have deferred maintenance, and then you find that you can fix them up and you get a bigger margin. You're not going to make the deal generally with somebody that's just moved in 3 years and they're selling the house. You're finding these deals that there's a motivated factor, whether it be health, death, divorce. So, that's the thing. This chapter is valuable. He starts this book off with just a good kick. And he goes regarding some financing options, which he had done. So on page 16, he says, keep in mind that throughout this period of time, I was constantly calling and stopping by real estate offices. Constantly. That's the word you got to look to there. He didn't make one stop. He didn't, say, oh, today I'm going to go through and just, touch base with every realtor. No, he had a system. You have to get a system, and you got to get your face and name known. So that's a thing right there. So towards the bottom of page 16, also he notes, that how he got another house, and it was because his system. He had started farming, and that farm was a system. He goes on page 17 about buying land. And I bought and sold a lot of land, a lot of lots, and that's a great avenue a lot of people aren't targeting. But you also have to be careful that you do this with the cash you've made from other deals. Lots of times you really don't want to be paying on a piece of land unless you want, before you buy anything, you have to think about selling it. And remember, typically there are exceptions that if you watch his videos, I think he rents out a lot now for like food trucks. So he's getting an income from vacant land. But generally speaking, you don't get an income from vacant land. I had vacant land before and put a billboard on it. So I got income from the billboard. So, but you're not looking just at houses. You're looking at vacant land. Some people just want to specialize in retail, office, industrial. So you find your niche, then that's your farm. You farm that. And at the bottom, page 17, he goes on that I bought 17, on page bottom 17, he bought 20 pieces of property. 20 pieces. See, once you get going, it starts rolling. And, on the 18, he said he made money not only on cash and notes. And notes is he held some mortgages on some of the lots he sold. And, as a private individual, sometimes you buy something like a piece of land. Say you bought a piece of land for $50,000, a residential lot. You sell it for $75,000, but say they only want to put 10 down, and you want your original 50 back. So the remaining 15, you hold a note. Could be any interest rate you negotiate, any term you negotiate, but you're getting a monthly income from that note. I've done this also, and I've also done it where, excuse me, I took the note back. Sorry about that. I got allergies today. Bad day to start this book, I guess. But anyways, you take the note, and somebody owed me 60 months, 5 years, and they were paying me so much per month. I took that note and I sold it to somebody else. I sold that stream of income to somebody else. So he covers a lot. There's a lot of gold nuggets in the chapter 1, and I've done these things over the last 40 years, and they work. And obviously they work for him because are in me because you see the outcome, how we started like in the same place and ended up in the same place, and we're at opposite ends of the country, so it works no matter where you are. He started when he was like 18, 19 also. I started when I was 18 or 19. And it just starts off, if you just keep at it, you can get it done. But this is a great book. You got to buy the book. You got to buy the book because I'm telling you, this is like, you should pay lots more for this book. This is the book, it just blows my mind. I do a lot of real estate classes. It blows my mind how many people will spend, $150 or more for a concert ticket. $10 for fast food meal for lunch. Yet, if you say, here's a book that will make you $1,000,000, it's $20. Oh, well, come on. If you're serious about improving your life, and like I said, I've never met Tom, never talked to Tom. Hopefully someday I will, but I won't do it during this book thing, and then hopefully I get through it. It's 30-something chapters, and every day I'll go over the chapters and tell you what to look for, what to look at, and how I put it in. I have put these same things in practice that he has written down. See you next time for Chapter 2. And Chapter 2 is, let's see here quick, keep it simple and focus on what matters. And that's so true. It's the little things, it's the simplicity. That's why I recommend this book so much. There's so many other books that are 3 times, 4 times as thick. A, you'll never get through it. B, it's confusing. And C, it's not direct, and it's not hand-on practical experience. There's a lot of people that write a lot of books about things they've never done.